Many of us start the journey simply wanting a little bit more out of life, or maybe wanting a whole lot more out of life in one way or another. You see, when I first started this journey, I was hell-bent on being able to stay at home and sleep in the bed with my then girlfriend, now wife. That want, that desire, that pull forward, based on, in my mind, something so simple, right? Being able to stay at home, right? Financial freedom, right? That simple idea for me at the time, because I was just a teenager. I mean, I was a junior in high school, 17 years old, missing a lot of school. That simple idea, it was a pull forward. It was something that pulled me towards a different life. It was something that stayed on my mind that I couldn't get off my mind. That always was there to speak to me and to talk to me and to help me think in a different way than maybe I would have already been doing at that time in my life, and certainly was for years before. That simple pull or push, one or the other, pushed me in a different direction. It pushed me towards a different side of my life that I didn't even know I was capable of. And if you would have seen me a year prior to that, you would have known it was absolutely not possible for me, or at least it would have seemed that way. By the way I acted, the way I carried myself, who I was at that point in my life. But for me, that was the start of my journey. And it's what helped me start to make decisions that got me out of my comfort zone. I went and started investing in small courses. I was making, I don't even remember, I think $7 an hour, $8 an hour working at a Little Caesars. I did a couple other things on the backside. I worked at a Walmart that year too. And I made these very small dollar amounts of money outside of school. And I remember going and investing in different courses and different things, just trying to expand my awareness. I think the first thing I went into was drop shipping. It was advertisement. There was an advertisement agency that they had a small course, like $15. I bought that off an ad off YouTube, tried it out. I really didn't try it out though, right? I did a little bit, right? And then I fell into something else. I didn't like doing that. I kind of wasn't consistent with that enough because I didn't like it. Then I found drop shipping. Went into that. I think I got on a sales call with somebody and ended up putting down $500 for the full package, which was like $2,000 or something, to have like this mentorship and this program, this community, all this kind of stuff. And that was a huge step for me because I was scared to make that decision. Now, ultimately, I didn't utilize what I spent my money on efficiently at all. I bottomed out within 2 weeks probably. But it was a step for me in that direction. It was a step for me where I took initiative and I made a decision to spend money on myself, to spend money on this career because of that pull forward, that drive, that different life that I was yearning for. And even when I fell off of that course, I could have done what a lot of people do and been upset, right? And blamed other people. But something in me didn't do that. Even though I had spent that money and it was wasted in one way, I knew that it was me who made that decision to spend the money, and it ultimately wasn't wasted because it acted as a point that I could stand on as terms of moving in that direction in my life. You see, if I wouldn't have done that, I might not have spent the thousands and thousands of dollars I have on sales training or coaching in general years later. I might not have actually stayed as committed and invested in myself throughout that journey, right? I might have turned around and blamed my issues on someone else like I could have in that moment, if that's what I would have done at that time. But instead, I listened to that drive, that pull, that push forward. I listened to that voice inside that said, dude, you're worth something. You have greatness inside of you. Though I had all these limitations and self-defeating ideas about myself, I still listened to this small voice inside that said, hey, you can do this. You can still try. You can still go farther. You can still continue on. You need to do something different because you hate what's going on as it is. So continue on the path, as though it may be ugly and though it hurts right now. Continue on. Continue to do something different. Even though it may feel like you just wasted this much money and it took you this many hours to get it, continue driving forward. Continue on. Continue to listen to me. Continue to fight for me. All right? And don't let me get you wrong. Look, there's definitely some times where I was in the wrong mindset for a day or however many days. And I didn't listen to this voice. I fell back. I went to the old habits. I started playing more video games again. I got more unfocused. But in general, at large, over time, I listen to that voice more and more and more and more and more and more and more. I plugged in to the right communities, the right environments, the right friends who were thinking differently, doing things differently, looking for new avenues, looking for different ways to become successful. I began listening to the motivational speeches, the inspirational speakers, the guys who had been through something and told their story in an inspiring way. I started listening to them and being excited by what they had to say. I started connecting with what the stories they told, the stories they explained about themselves. Because there was a voice in me that pulled me forward. There was a voice in me that said, hey, you know what? You hate where you've been at. That's your fault where you've been at. Where you've been at is your fault. So you have to move from it. You have to do something different. You have to do these things that feel uncomfortable. I still remember when I first started reading, like actually reading for myself, not reading like in school. It was senior year. It was Think and Grow Rich. I picked up that book. I saw, probably 100 different Instagram posts talking about how Think and Grow Rich was one of the best books you can read. Also, Bob Proctor. I heard him talk about Think and Grow Rich, how he read it once a year for 50 years or something like that. So I was like, I gotta read this. I picked it up senior year. I think I read through a quarter or half of it throughout the school day, a little bit after school, and I put it down. It was too much of a textbook read for me. Fast forward to now, I've read it 5 times over. I love to read Think and Grow Rich. I actually did a book study on it this past first 3 months of the year here, 3 or 4 months. Because I changed, I grew, I developed, I interpreted the information different each time. Out of the past 5 years that I've read it, each time it's been different. I've picked up different things through each read. That first time I read it, it still brought me so much new information, new awareness, right? Even though it was half of it, I didn't even finish it then. But what it brought me was great, beyond what I could really understand. It fed that voice, that pull, that push forward. It fed that voice inside of me and helped me continue to stay on that path more often than not. Right? So I tell you all this to say that it doesn't matter what your pull or push forward is. As long as it's forward in the right direction, that's what you need to listen to. That's what it helps to follow after, to chase after, to understand, to speak to be a part of, to get around more of. This is what you have to focus your time and mind and energy on. Expanding this version of your life, letting it become who you are. Though it may feel uncomfortable, though it may feel unknown and weird and cliche, and like everybody's going to judge you and your mother's going to hate you and whatever it may feel like, go into it, my friend. Because this version of you is pulling you forward. On the quantum level, it is looking back and seeing you where you're at now, and it is speaking to you to go onto that path, right? If you ask me, and quantum physics backs this up more than ever nowadays, there are parallel realities. Everything is a parallel reality. So in my mind, on the quantum level, on the 4th dimension, the version of me who is 50 years old, I actually just spoke to him today. Call me crazy if you want. But he's been calling me forward for for my entire life, ultimately. But for 5 years in particular, I've been listening. I've been listening to him and expanding into what he was calling me towards. Even though it felt, weird and odd, and my body, my flesh, my mind, my subconscious felt these things were weird. Why am I doing them? My conscious mind, I allowed my conscious mind, I gave myself enough will to listen, to play into it, to allow this push, this pull forward to bring me to where it was asking me to go. I've allowed that older version of me to call me forward for years now. And so it's natural. It's natural and it's understandable. Again, the conversation I had with him today, it was complete reassurance. It was complete reassurance on the entire path that I'm on. It brought me to tears, actually, because it literally, when you speak to a being like that and on a timeline in that way, there's complete clairvoyance, it's complete clarity. And I've been working for 5 years to have that. I also bawled my eyes out because of what he said in terms of my parents. He said, I need to spend more time with my parents. That ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, they're not going to be here for a crazy amount of time. So I need to continue to spend more time with them and let it happen and stop refusing it in times in the ways that I do. So guys, I tell you all this to help you understand that no matter what your pull forward is, you must listen to it. It's calling you forward for a reason. You feel it in your soul. You feel it in your boots to go after something, to try it, even though it feels uncomfortable. Try it out, see it, be a part of it. Just take a stand with it and move toward it, because if you don't, you're giving up on the side of you that is the greatest version. You're not allowing yourself to be who exactly you're meant to be. You're not feeding the version of you who has seen the greatest side of your life. All for what? The pleasures, the animal-based desires, the things that slowly kill you or kill you with speed as well. The ugliness of life that holds most people back their entire life. Is any of that worth it? The road to hell feels like heaven, but the road to heaven feels like hell. There are two truths to both of those. The road to hell feels like, I don't believe it feels like heaven, but that's what most people would say. It feels really good right here in the moment. And they say that the road to heaven feels like hell. They just mean that it's going to be full of an actual journey of progress and development and accountability and ups and downs. But you see, my friend, accountable ups and downs is the process of life. It is full accountability. It is being fully present in the journey. It is allowing yourself to sink into the highest timeline and work towards it. That is heaven. The journey itself is heaven. The journey itself is heaven. I've told you guys for years now, my version of heaven or hell, heaven is when you live purposely, day by day, when the journey, it becomes what life is all about. Where you realize complete gratitude and appreciation for all that your life is. That is heaven. It's not a result by any one means or measure. It is on the path. It is on the way. Whereas hell is a state of dormance. It is a state of being a zombie, if you will. It is being stuck in your pleasures and your lowly desires and allowing them to incorporate into every area of your life. It is being an alcoholic or someone with a major addiction and being controlled by it, vices. This is the road to heaven. It feels so good right now, but gosh, it feels terrible as time goes on. And that terrible might look like death, disease, terrible families, terrible connections with people around you, a terrible connection with yourself. So my friends, strive for heaven, work towards, be on the path of living in heaven, living with God, living with your higher self, allowing the universe, the rightful side of your highest timeline to work through you. Allow the push or pull to call you forward and listen to it with all that you are. Day by day, consistently improve into that. You're not going to be perfect. I'm 5 years in and I'm far from perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's about listening and heading in that direction more than not. Because ultimately nowadays, and probably since the beginning of time, hell will always pull you hard. It will always have a very large grasp on humanity at large. And so you have to break out of that and be a dreamer. You have to be someone who is delusional to others. You have to be someone who sees a different reality as possible. You have to be someone who can work towards it and be that individual on a day-to-day basis, regardless of the results, regardless of what you see right here and today. You have to be willing to face that pain, to face that unknown, to go into it and continue to strive on no matter what happens. No matter what anybody says. You continue on that path and you work towards that greatness, that side of you that you know is possible, that version of the world that you know is possible. Because ultimately you could always fall back into the hellhole that is dissolution, that is avoidance, that is alcoholic avoidance or vice-riddled life, living without purpose, living pleasurably. This hellhole is always here. It's never you'll never be able to, you'll never miss out on it. It's always going to be here. Strive for that version of you. Strive to be that version of you who knows how it's possible for your life, for the world. Move and work towards that every single day. Consistently. Grind for it. Love for it. Be the individual you're meant to be. Listen to your calling. whatever way it starts. You got this, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think below. Like, comment, subscribe, turn the notifications on, all that good stuff. If whatever you do, listen to that higher self, brother. It's always waiting for you. Let's go.